test out this microphone and just see how I sound. I'm getting comfortable on the microphone because I don't really do this, and I'm working through the imposter syndrome, okay? I'm gonna tell myself that I don't sound silly, that people don't hate my voice, that I have a comforting voice, that I have a soothing voice, and I'm gonna work through all the mental things because I need to get comfortable with my voice because my voice needs to be amplified and shared on platforms and listened to because I have the experience, I have the wisdom, I have the foundation, and I know that what I have to say is important and what I have to say matters. And I just always have many dialogues with myself, like randomly. Like it genuinely is like spirit talking to me and through me. And I just it's so such profound shit. Like I'm just like smoking one or I'm just sitting there just like and I'll be just introspecting on my whole life and it's just like the most profound but it's like simple profound and I don't know, I just feel like I've realized that I have a gift and I've been learning how to cultivate and how to be comfortable and how to activate this gift because I feel like because of the body that I exist in, um, I was not told or taught or expected to value the gift that I have, the gift of me being, of my being, of just existing in and of itself. Um, and so I've had to really unpack and unlearn all those thoughts, literally just me coming in this recording and acknowledging the imposter syndrome that I felt and getting comfortable and just by speaking on it and just speaking through it, I'm really proud of myself for how far and um, I've grown and how much I've grown and the ways I'm able to identify and acknowledge, the mental chaos that used to literally just ruminate. Like it would just my mind was just thought after thought, and it was just racing all the time, and it was, the anxiety thoughts and the negative and the imposter syndrome and that I'm not supposed to look like this or I'm not supposed to be in this space and it's just you're as a trans person, as a gender queer person, as a person of color, your body is policed all the time, in the spaces that you encompass. And as a person who comes from, what we call it, Texas, um, I don't come from money. I don't come. I'm Mexican. We're workers. We have a different lineage, and different experiences, and when we bring different things, and I am working class. I was definitely in the working class, like social conditioning is why I'm even identifying this as a thing because honestly it's like yeah I didn't want to I was touching around not wanting to say that I lived in poverty because I never felt poor. Like listen, my mom had all a book full of credit cards. We lived off credit cards and then and sometimes we still do and I still do, but we lived abundantly. And now as I get older, I think that's something that's so beautiful, that's like really cultivated from within, that is so hard to teach. That's like a mindset. It's a mental thing. It's like we're conditioned as kids. We're programmed by the things we hear, by the environment that we're in, by the ways in which we're treated, and how we look and how we identify in this world has so much to do with that because it's all like we're literally, as humans, we're such social beings. And so even past all the laws and policies and all the what have yous, when we get down to the bottom of it, we're humans, we're social beings. We perceive people as, through social lenses, through preconceived ideas of what this, as whatever identity you hold, there's a social stigma or a social norm that's around it that creates that it impacts the way that you interact with this world. Bitch, I'm just like, how did we get here, girl? You see, I get on the mic and spirit talks. That's literally what I was saying. That's how we got here. I feel like spirit talks through me, and it's literally just me. It's like this. It's having moments like this where it's like I don't even know. I'm not in control of what I'm saying. It is literally spirit coming through me, and it's needing to come out. It's like it's this voice activation that I have these monologues all the time, and I feel like I've been building, and I remember years, like two. I feel like this has been building for some years, but like two years ago, I think I was having reoccurring dreams of just like waking up in like I was speaking some profound speech of some sort, and like on my MLK shit, and I would just wake up like mid speech, and I could never remember like any like I would just it was just recurring that I was just like waking up in that. I couldn't remember what I was talking about, but I know it just had so much impact, and I remember the embodiment feeling of that impact, that I felt that sense of profound, like what I had to say, what needed to be said, needed to be out there, and it held such deep resonance. Like I felt it in my body, and I just had this dream like over and over again, and I feel like that was like a couple years back, and now it's just like little. It's funny how life takes you through life, and the things that you don't always see are connected are actually connected. And now where I'm getting comfortable. That was when I was first really battling with this imposter syndrome, and silencing my voice for the sake of others, really, for pleasing others, and allowing others voices to trample all over mine. Like I as a child, again, back to the conditioning, you're taught to be seen and not heard. Like the speaking back. Anytime you have an opinion, it's seen as back talk, versus like something you're not really allowed to express your ideas, your thoughts, your opinions, and it really depends on the mood that your parent might be in on the type of day, and what you're allowed to do, and what behaviors are accepted for you as a child. And it's just really knowing your place. And when I got into law school, and I that really really like it was to my detriment, that I was conditioned in that way, because in that space I was supposed to take up so much space. I was there to take up so much space, and because I wasn't comfortable and hadn't yet developed that self-empowerment, that embodiment necessary to take that space up, man, I was trampled all over, and I was chewed up and spit out, and all the fucking things, and I went through hell and back, but it brought me all everything that I went through brought me to this moment. Taught me everything is a lesson. I never regret any of the choices I made, the ways that I moved, um, because I consistent. One thing about me is consistently I'm gonna choose what feels good in my body. It might not be the most practical thing to do. It's usually some off the wall shit that I be choosing, but it's my intuition. I let it guide me, and I really listen to it, and I honor it. And there's some times where I don't know why I'm feeling these things, or I'm coming to terms with these things, or changing directions, but I listen to it and I honor it, and I think every time I do that, I get closer to who I truly am, and like the root of who I am, and what my journey on earth is for, in the ways that like like I don't know, I'm definitely one of those people who definitely feels like I have a purpose. Like my soul is here, for service. It's like I'm here for a reason. I'm here for impact, and I know this. I have this internal knowing, and I've learned over again these past couple years was to completely released control of any preconceived ideas or notions or control patterns that I had around what this journey was supposed to be, quote unquote, or what I want it to be, what it should be. I had to release control of all of that. The universe is so funny in the way that she will just make you go through certain shit so that you're forced to get on your knees to just lift it, literally just lift it to spirit, lift it to the universe, because the universe, the God, ain't that what the Bible says? God wants all your worries. Like, lift it to your higher power, your source. I had to completely shed and release and get on my knees. I was on my knees and I was shedding. I was just shedding layers of conditioning, of just so much shit that was forced onto me. I didn't even get the choice. I didn't even get the choice, and I didn't even know that I didn't even. I was coming to terms with so much acknowledgement of the world and of the difference in reality that we exist in, and that was so. I was so angry. I was so angry at the injustice. My therapist calls it injustice. And yeah, I experience a lot of injustice, and it's just that term is just so funny to me because it doesn't encapsulate what I experience. I feel like labeling when she said it, it just sounded so simple when she said it, and it made me like chuckle. Like, yeah, it's unjust. Like, that's she justifies my anger by saying and acknowledging the unjust, you know, um, root causes of my anger. And it is actually very grounding for me because I'm like, yes, my anger is justified. Like, if a therapist said it, shit, she knows. She knows which anger. So, and I don't think anger is a bad emotion. I just think our emotional reactions is sometimes what can kind of get us into. But that's neither here nor there. Forgot where I was even going with this. Started a whole damn podcast. And all I had to do was get comfortable with my voice. And I don't know, I feel like the message when I speak, it's like a message to me, really. It's like, what is my intuition telling me that I need to hear? And I feel like if I need to hear it, like, I just feel like there's so much that when I have conversations with folks, they're like, within my presence, they just feel, I feel a sense of comfort and a sense of like acknowledgement, because I feel like when you've gone through so many things and experienced so many realms of this lifetime or this earth or this whatever, when you've experienced, you that knowing is within you, and it moves with you in the spaces, in your spaces. And I feel like I can see people in a way that they're not always seen, but it's because I see you. Like, I genuinely see you, because I spent so many years trying to see me, like, really, really. And you can only we only view each other as deep as we view ourselves. I feel like that's a saying or something, but like, everything is a reflect. We're mirrors to each other. Like, our spirits. They're here. It's like when I say this is a simulation, it's like it's a game. It's a dance. Like, life is so. It's supposed to be so joyful and so just bliss and love and abundance. Like, this is what we are meant to experience. And oh, I got lost in the abundance, girl. I'm like, period. That is what we're meant to experience. And I think we've gotten so lost. We've gotten so lost, and it's because of the conditioning. Back to the damn conditioning. It's the outside, it's the media sources, it's this polarizing narrative that has become politics, but it's really just greed. It's been at the root of the foundation of the United States. Like this country was built on business, on capitalism, on the exploitation of labor and bodies in its foundation. And that is an economic system. When we talk about capitalism, we're talking about an economic system that has control over our lives. So when we talk about our work, people think you are synonymous with what you do. Like that is somehow who you are. You are not what you do. You are not even your thoughts. Like, and literally I this caused a little controversy because why did this came out? Somebody asked this on she gonna know I'm calling her out right now, but she asked this on an Instagram post. She said, "At what point do you become what you do?" And it really, like, in my head, it just, when I think of, like, when I read shit and when I see shit and anything, again, I have this lens. It's just this internal lens where it's just like I really think of, like, I get down to the very very root and I'm like, what made her, like, I'm thinking about how she's thinking about this and thinking about how larger society must, it's like, if she thinks this, other people think this. At what point do we become what we do? And I'm like, at no point. And I kind of, like, I'm intrigued. I'm responding. I'm engaging to her, her post, and I'm like, that's so, like, I'm expressing my side, and just how it come up right now, like, how acknowledging, like, damn, like, that's sad, like, in this world that we live in, we somehow, there's this perceived notion that we are somehow synonymous with what we do. And mind you, like, when you do something for a long time, of course you become, okay, like, I think she used the example, like, when a painter becomes a painter, like, at what point do you get to hold that title, is what it was. And it was just like that acknowledgement of how mentally, like, we can't even extract ourselves from the labor. Like, our brains are so conditioned to do, to produce, to, I don't know, like, rather than just be. Like, culturally, I feel like ancestrally, in my bones, I had to come and feel and embody and truly believe and recondition my brain to know that my existence is all, in and of itself, is enough, is worthy, is abundant. Like, I think what trips me out is how people separate politics from their personal everyday lives. We I come from a very politically disengaged family where politics is just so above. We're surviving day to day. Nobody has time to look up what bill, Prop 6, nobody has time, and that's a California bill. It's literally the first one that came to my head. But it's just like, there used to be this narrative of, like, why, and there's different narratives in the family where you got the ones where, like, why even vote? The system's fucked up. Like, what is my vote gonna do? And so that, comes from a lack of just, honestly, I was the same way until I, had my whole experiences here and going to law school, and honestly, not even law school, but it was the fellowship with the Women's Foundation that really, really taught me, and in my intern, my, what was it, my, when I was an impacted leader with the Initiate Justice program as well. Like, that truly, those, both of those programs were geared specifically towards impacted individuals. The Women's Foundation, all gender expansive and cisgendered women. Um, so just such a, and radically inclusive. Um, women-centered feminist, abolition-centered politics, like all the things. There's just such a, I'm saying all this because there's such a difference in the way that we receive information. You know, like law school was one of the worst environments I've ever experienced in my life. Like honestly, like my and again, it's the way that you feel in these spaces that for like I went years of living outside of my body and not even knowing how to feel, how to acknowledge what I was feeling, how to name and identify what I felt. Um, I I'm like I was like hesitant about bringing it up, but I this is my story, you know. Like I was definitely what do we call it? I don't even know what you know from since I was like 5, 4. The you know the first um, interaction that I had where my innocence was, you know, stolen from me at such a young age and consistently and continuously um, until for years, honestly. And, you know, we talk about saving all the people or all the women, and obviously that they don't, that's so sexist because male or masculine people experience um, unwanted advancements at young ages too by women. So, but anyways, I'm just saying this to say, why did I bring this up? Oh, because my body was taken from me in so many different ways, honestly, but that being a large one of them for so many years, and I was silenced and I was conditioned. You know, I was like conditioned as a woman in the society. So, you know, that's so many of us. You know, as queer people, as women, as just people. Honestly, that's just so many of us because I've also heard stories from men who just have that comfortability to open up about these things because I'm open about these things, and I feel like men experience so much of the pain that we do too, but they're just conditioned to suppress it and ignore it, and they're more validated in their anger. So whenever their reaction is um, you know, anger consumed, it's acceptable, it's normal. But when they feel pain or when they feel hurt, um, it's like you're pushing that away. There's this whole I don't know if y'all can hear in the background the fucking there's like a whole rave disco thing going on. Um, I'm talking like it's not on my TV. It's in my living room. I did not plan to start this whole freaking monologue. I literally was trying to do a mic check. And I just haven't wanted to go push pause because I've just been yapping. And but it just kind of threw me off because we were like talking about some real shit, and then there was like a whole like what you call that when they're amping up the beat drop. I just thought it was silly. I don't even know if you can hear it, but I can hear it on my end, so I'm sure this mic isn't like um, blocking everything out. But yeah, I'm just reflecting on a lot of growth and embodiment that I feel that I've developed over these past years. Um, and I'm so appreciative of this journey and the journey back into my body and the journey that I've, you know, fought every fucking day. It's a daily battle of just undoing all that social conditioning and taking all the thoughts out of my mind that are not mine really just being able to stay grounded and to stay rooted, and I think the universe provided me such a beautiful safe space to be able to grow and develop safely, lovingly, in a way that I never really had, honestly. I've been blessed to have my very own apartment, my first apartment where I'm living by myself in California. Um, I have a patio. My living room is beautiful. Like, it fills me with so much gratitude because there's so many times I used to feel so, like, what's it called when you not imposter syndrome, but like where you feel guilty for having what you have, because, like, I don't know, at least for me, because I always thought, like, oh, like, why am I deserving of this, or why do I get this and my brother didn't get this, or my sister didn't get this, or my mom, or, I was always like somehow believing that I was less deserving, um, of what the universe was providing for me. And I think a lot of that just came, I just had this, like, I don't know, I feel like I got a lot more stability, um, in my life than my siblings did, and we all go through our shit, but I think let them or I gave them the woe is me card a lot more than I should have. And I think over this year I've also really come to appreciate and acknowledge the fucking work and just the energy that I have, and it's very different. And I think it's, and not to say, no shade on them or anything, but I do feel like I didn't give myself enough credit. We grew up very differently. We're 10 years apart. Um, they had a level of, first, they had their parents, and then my dad was also, trapping at the time. So he had a good little chunk of change, and, they were like, with that came, like the neighborhood, um, authority, like, not authority, but it's like, you're top dog, like your name meant something, and the family name, and especially in where we grew up and where they grew up. um, anyways, so, but I also know that because of that, it's just so funny. Again, back to the conditioning. It's like what happens when you grow up with money, and I feel like they were spoiled in ways that, they don't acknowledge, and they call me spoiled, but they were definitely spoiled in ways that I never had. And we all came out differently based on our experiences, and the whole point was, I didn't even mean to go on this whole tangent, but just the point was that I gave so much, I felt so guilty for what I was experiencing because I thought others were going without, or, whatever. But now I'm in a space, and just frequency. Honestly, it's just an energetic shifts. I feel like every time you do these years, as you reflect, you move into different frequencies. You're emitting different energy now. You're stepping into to more. I'm stepping into more grounded, to more. Um, I feel it. I feel a difference in the way that I show up in the world, um, and just in the way that I was able to calm my thoughts going into this mic check. What turned to be, again, spirit just talking. Um, but it was really me trying to, and not even just trying, because I accomplished it. I done talked for goddamn, I don't even know how long. At this point, damn near 30 minutes. So, yeah, I guess, I don't know. I guess, I don't know if I had a point with why I was starting to start this, but, I think this was confirmation that I really need to be on my podcasting journey, because I've been wanting to do this for a while. And I don't know, I was working through that imposter syndrome, and I feel like literally this is the confirmation. this was me working through it, fucking beating its ass, coming out at the other end, swinging. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping that by putting this out, other people resonate with what I experienced or said. I don't know. I don't really know how this works yet, but I'm gonna keep this recording because it was cute, and I definitely want to keep making more content and seeing. I don't know. I feel like all the freaking YouTubers and people that I see just say like, "Oh, one day I just like didn't even know. I just posted this thing, and it just people just resonated with it, and and I always feel so connected to their energies. I'm like, yes, like when you feel that connection to people's energy, like again, like we attract what we are, the energies we emit, the frequencies. You are what you attract. Anyways, so here's to hoping I find some some people. I'm like, I don't even know what to call it. Some energetic matches. Here's to some energetic matches. A ver qué.